Hello, everybody.
Hi. Hold on.
Today I'm going to refute the speech given on the status of the fetus. The advocate's major claim for this was that since the moment of conception, a fetus is considered a human being, like all of us. The advocate gave the definition of a fetus as an unborn being ranging from the moment of conception till birth. But I would like to give a more standardized definition of fetus from both the medical dictionary on Medicine.net and Webster's dictionary. This being, the fetus is the unborn offspring from the end of the 8th week after conception until birth. Well, the advocate's secondary claims were: 1, all life forms began as unicellular beings; 2, that a zygote is a human being; and 3rd, that his use of embryonic law. So my major claim is that a fetus is not a human being until birth. The advocate's first claim was that all life forms began as unicellular beings, reasoning that 3 to 4 million years ago, first known living organisms were single-celled and have since evolved. According to accepted science, though, the first known living organisms came about almost 4 billion years ago, but the first known humans didn't appear until a little over 500,000 years ago. So unicellular beings 4 million years ago or 4 billion years ago don't come into account because humans didn't even exist then. The advocate's second claim that the zygote is a human being, using evidence that it contains 46 chromosomes and that the zygote fulfills the 4 criteria necessary to establish life. A zygote contains 46 chromosomes, hence it is human, right? Not necessarily. All humans do have 46 chromosomes, but they share this trait with their close brothers, the hare, also known as the jackrabbit, and certain species of deer. The evidence that the zygote fulfills the 4 criteria necessary to establish life, metabolism, growth, reaction to stimuli, and reproduction is something I can agree with. It is alive. The zygote is alive. But it's not human. Okay. Let me rephrase that. The zygote's alive, just like a plant or a cheetah. But those aren't human either. Okay. Third and final claim that the advocate brought to attention was embryonic law, giving constitutional rights to the unborn. Well, sure, a fetus should have its rights, but the main claim is that the fetus is human. The embryonic law gives the fetus rights, but it does not specifically say that it is human. In conclusion, I would like to say that since all life forms began as unicellular beings, the zygote being a human being because it has 46 chromosomes and fulfills the criteria to establish life, and the fact of the embryonic law having no bearing, that the claim of my advocate, since the moment of conception, a fetus is considered a human being, has no proof to sustain its plausibility, and that being established, I can only conclude that a fetus is not a human being until birth, because it's not. And, yeah. Thank you.
All right, Christopher, you ID'd the topic pretty clearly. I thought you had a good preview of what the supporting points are going to be. I like the idea of the definitional challenge that you have, but you need to do a little bit more with it. Why is the difference between, for instance, a zygote and a fetus an important distinction to make? Are there legal issues concerning it? Is it a decision that involves the conflict of rights between the mother and the child? Is it a standard medical issue that means that they get different kinds of treatment? I think that the distinction on the definition is a good idea, but unless there's some importance to it, you're not getting much out of it. You preview the supporting points of the advocate pretty clearly, and so it should be easy to follow. I'm not sure what you get by pointing out that humans didn't develop at the same time as the planet, and how long it took us to get from being single-celled creatures to humans. I don't see how it refutes the argument being presented by the advocate at all, so I think you spin your wheels a little bit on that point. It was an interesting challenge on the zygote and the number of chromosomes that it has. Making the comparisons to the other animals is interesting, but again, it doesn't suggest, unless you're suggesting that simply having 46 chromosomes means that a hare could potentially become a human, then there might be an argument there, but I didn't hear any such statement or any proof, and so it just seems to me to be, again, very similar to the first argument, an interesting side point, instead of something that's directly refuting the claims of the advocate. Now, there are some good arguments on the idea that there is a distinction on legal standards, and I think you could have developed a little bit more information on that point, but it got to be a little confusing, especially, for instance, with the exit that you have, that there's got to be a criteria for birth other than because it is not. I don't think that's that's a pretty circular sort of argument, and so it doesn't really help you very much. So it's well organized. You got some interesting points. I think they're only responsive on one or two of the points, and you need a little bit more. You need to come to grips a little bit more with what some of the controversy on the point is. All right. Thank you.